Divergent thinking is a thought process used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, such that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. Many possible solutions are explored in a short amount of time, and unexpected connections are drawn. Welcome to Minds in Formation. All right, cheers, bro. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, good to see you, man. It's been a few months.
I know. Yeah, like I told you, I kind of hermited it up for a little bit.
Yeah, every once in a while we all kind of go down below.
Yeah, well, it's like I was telling you upstairs. I ran that damn Meetup group for like 2.5 years or something like that, and did an event every week. And then I was just like, holy shit, I'm out of gas now. I'm taking a break. And then I deleted it on accident.
Well, that's what Jason said. He said that he did it on accident. Because I thought, well, if he didn't want to do it, that's fine. Because there's plenty of people that would still, want to do stuff. And he's done a great job of just kind of combining all of those other groups as well.
Yeah.
And he said, that had gotten mistakenly deleted. And
yeah, that was my fault. I think I was just being a dumbass or something. Because, I knew that you could offer it up to other people for grabs. Yeah. And it would keep it for 6 months or something.
Or just keep it going up. Because in that way, at least when it ran out, then at that time you could, just let it. And I thought, well, maybe the dues was coming up because I kicked in like $25 for it. Just, because I didn't like paying a little something for it. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, it's kind of weird that he would just, it was uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
Because you were always such a welcoming dude. And, if it wasn't for you, dude, I don't think I'd have any friends in this town.
Right.
So after COVID, man, it was like, it's just like, it seemed uncharacteristic.
Yeah, so I get that. And I didn't really think about that until after the fact.
Yeah.
Because I deleted it on accident and then realized I don't have a way to communicate with 99% of the people that were on there. Like, I have your phone number and a couple people's phone
number. Well, that's what everybody was saying, and they were like, what happened to Matt? What's wrong with Matt? Is Matt okay? Matt, I go out. I don't know. I mean, I guess as good as mine, but no news is good news. I mean,
Yeah.
And then, after a while, I was meaning to like reach out to y'all anyway. But, you get busy and stuff. And
yeah, totally.
And then so whatnot. But I'm like thinking, well, shit, man. I mean, I wouldn't, it's you got to take a lot of these groups with a grain of salt. But I thought, I look back and I was like, man, I would have to say I met more cool people out of that group than a lot of these other groups, And after a while, I just quit like fucking doing them because it was like so click, 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 you know. So it's and I was like, man, still just don't seem to get as many like cool people as people that we hang out with and you guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's tough. I've been told I never went to any other groups, so I didn't have anything to base it off of. I mean, I did one or two when I first moved to town, but then once I created my group, I never went to anybody else's. Yeah. It wasn't because I was being pretentious or anything. I just didn't have any time. Like I did my one event and that was it. Yeah. But a lot of people told me it was one of the better ones. So
it was the best one. I mean, I'm going to say better. I mean, it had a good mix of, going out and doing hiking, adventure stuff, but also just getting together and playing, like, trivia or whatever, holiday parties, It's like, you going to you going to Brad's thing on Saturday? I saw your name on the thread, so I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. And I mean, just kind of like stuff like that, because after a while you start to develop better friendships with people, and in a place where it's, full of transients, it's kind of hard these days, It's not like the Midwest or the South. They're congenial as all shit. You move into a place and you got people bringing you over stuff and left and right, man. Here it's like, I still don't barely know my neighbors. So, and I've been living in that house for 5 years now.
Yeah, it doesn't work the same here at all.
No, it's just a lot of transplants.
It is. Yeah. But if you have a shared interest, it can be really cool that way.
Right,
like for instance, Jess met a ton of cool people through volleyball.
Yeah.
We've met people like snowboarding and stuff like that. So if you have that shared activity, that helps. Yeah. But otherwise, if you're just going out, it's
if you just work from home, here. It's really tough too.
Oh, so yeah. Yeah, you're never going to meet anybody.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I'm actually cooking up a little something. I might be bringing a little something back. Did you ever go to the platonic speed dating event?
I heard that was probably one of the best events in the world. And I heard just nothing but great things about it. And are we recording, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
so I heard just great things about it, and I'll probably look at deep diving into some of that. Just checking it out, meeting new people, and so forth. It's but I always see that it just there's a girl that runs it, right? Or she
Oh,
did.
is there
does she? Or that, or she promotes it, or you're doing it through somebody. You did it at Suma, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That thing filled up faster than.
Yep. And that one might be coming back, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to be on Meetup. I think it's going to be on Eventbrite.
Yeah.
So there'll be tickets, but that event is going to come back.
Well,
I think.
notice a lot of these groups now are kind of getting off. I guess Meetup changed their formatting and stuff, so it's like more money to.
It's way more expensive.
Yeah, they made it more expensive, and I think you're getting more individuals just. They're just saying, going on Facebook or they're just saying, hey, we still got this group. We're just not going through Meetup, to implement it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it chased some people away because the prices went up a lot.
Yeah.
I forget, but they bumped it up to like $400 or $500 annually, and that just seems like a lot when, for the most part, you're not getting anything out of it as an organizer. I mean, you're getting like you're meeting people and stuff. You're getting like the social experience,
right. Yeah,
right? But you're not getting anything,
Right.
And I kind of tried that here and there with dues and donations and stuff, and it seemed to chase people away most of the time. So
yeah, but I'll tell you, there were so many people that would have just given more to keep that group going.
Yeah.
I know I would if y'all would have said, "Hey, man, for the amount of money that it was, I mean, nobody had a problem ponying up, the money to keep that going because I don't think an organizer should have to be, on the hook for all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like $450 or something,
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean it. So from what I heard, and I had other friends, that did the groups, and then they just dropped out because of the dues. And I see these other groups that are out there, and it's like they've got like hardly any memberships, or there's like literally nobody going to their events, and you're still ponying up the same amount of money. It's not like on a sliding scale. So
right.
That like really sucked because you had you probably had about 1,000 people, I think.
Even more
least.
at a few times because I experimented with the dues a couple of times, so it would cut the numbers way down. But I think the first time it was pushing 2,000.
Right.
But of course, a lot of those people are inactive because so many people will sign up for an event and then not show up, but then they're just in the group perpetually after that, and then they move away. Yeah. So you just kind of collect all these, non-active members. But still, there was a lot of active members, and it was a great time. I have thought about bringing it back at some point, especially if I were to transition out of working full time.
I think, and I'm semi-retired now, so I mean, I got to be honest. There's some days I went to my homeowners association meeting, which I never go to. I get these letters in the mail because I live in this covenant subdivision, right. And all the people that are at these at this meeting, I mean, we're just, old. You're talking walkers, and they had one guy with prods sticking out of his head, and another one with oxygen tanks, and they were talking about this and that. And, I told them, I was like, well, they were talking about the Christmas lights, and anybody putting the Christmas lights up, which are right in front of my house. So it's almost like, you're getting you're drinking the milk for free, and you ain't having to, put in for the cow.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll volunteer, and I'll go ahead and, string some lights up and stuff, out front. I had nothing going on. But yeah, I find that I am getting kind of quasi bored. I donate plasma, and, I was telling my sister this, and she said, oh my God, do you need money, Kevin? I go, no, I don't need money. I just, want to do it. It's, it helps people, and,
right.
it's, shit, you put a little money in your pocket. Yeah, that's great. But I'm not doing it because I need money, Kelly. That was the first thing out of her mouth was like, I was desolate. I was like, why do you got to be, that's what, donate plasma,
the next step's suck a dick, dude.
But I know a lot of people.
That road's dark.
They do it. And so people say like, man, you're looking a little pale these days. And I go, yeah, I donate plasma twice a week.
Yep.
But I only did like holidays. I mean, it's just kind of slow, but yeah, I've been,
why not just donate full on blood? Well, I guess
because they don't pay you for it,
anything
and I'm like, well, I'll just donate it. And, I got a buddy of mine. He's like, well, I buy my groceries with that. And I go, what are you going to do with that? I go, I think I'm going to invest in cryptocurrency with it.
Yeah, put it all in Bitcoin.
I'm putting it all in Bitcoin. Yeah, or Coinbase, or he was at ETR. But I told, people ask like, what are you going to do with it? And I go, well, I opened up a, crypto account, and I'm going to start putting it in there, man.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I'll wait for it to get down to about 70,000 and then buy. But yeah, now's the time to buy it. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I've been doing investing for a while now, and people think it's too late to get into crypto, but it's absolutely not too late. I mean, if these crypto bros are half right, then this whole thing is just getting started.
Well, it's when the financial institutions and that's why I'm semi-retired, because of my investments right now. I'm looking at the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, and S&P, what's the Magnificent Seven doing today? Or, NVIDIA's up, then they're down. And I'm looking at my shit. I'm like, shit,
Do you know, did you know that SpaceX is going to go public next year?
See when they get IPO for that, and everything called the Magnificent Eight. Yeah. You're going to kind of lump that in with Tesla. But, the Dow right now, record day. So, when I start looking at that stuff where I'm at now, I'm like, I step back and I look at what I've accumulated over the years, and I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I don't have to work anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still have to work. I still have to make some income. And that's what I tell people. What's the difference, with being micro-retired or, being full-time retired? And it's like, well, you can retire from the military,
right,
at 40, but you still want to work. You're not going to not work ever again in your life.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do with myself.
Well, that's where I'm kind of at with the business, because I haven't, the business has been, typically summer times, people aren't thinking about careers and resumes and stuff. They're on vacation. But, even with my business, it's like AI, is cut into that. It's starting to kind of come back around a little bit because of the career strategy element. But, if you got like a chat bot that writes up a resume for you, you don't need service like mine.
Yeah.
But I never really try to market myself like that anyway. But I found that this year, and I've had, issues in the last 5 years, with a friend who's been going through a terrible time with a wrongful conviction, which I know I've told you all about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really consumed, ever since I moved here, it's consumed a good chunk of, Stacy and I's lives, because, I'm having to go back and forth there to, go to his trials and this and that, and just, stuff I've been working with, from a legal standpoint. So 2025 was like the first year that I could really enjoy my time in Colorado. I only went to Illinois once, and that was, and that was just to, I visited him, and then I just saw my, son and family, and then I was back in a week. I was really able to finally enjoy my a whole year in Colorado. So as you've seen, I've been doing like a shit ton of paddle boarding, and just getting out and redoing the whole house, painting and all that. So just spending all that time, just having the time to do it, where I don't have to work. So I got pretty lazy after a while, and I would usually be a lot more aggressive in promoting services and getting stuff out there. And I'm like, what the hell with it? I was just like, I'll be 60 in a few months. So you get to a point where you just don't really want to work very hard. And if I want to sleep till 9 o'clock in the morning, and
yeah,
I could do that. But
it brings up the good question though of what is all that energy and all that extra time? What you can do your hobbies, you can do your honey-do list and everything,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get through it, and you're still gonna have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So what do you kind of do? Which brings us back to, like social stuff is important.
It is.
You need
It
people
is.
to be with you in that.
You do. And the one thing that I learned too, and especially I think COVID taught us all of this, because when we first came out here in 2019, I was still going back and forth to Illinois. I mean, I was coming out here, but I was probably spending more time in Illinois than I was in Colorado. So, you get to a point where, you're like, okay, you want to do some business networking, but it really took like something like a meetup or whatever. But again, during COVID, nobody was doing that anyway, because shit really got locked down
Right.
for, all of 2020 and like 2021. You didn't see groups starting to get active again until I started, joining yours. And that's really when I think a lot of that started taking off, because you didn't have that group all that long before that, did you?
No, because I moved here.
As I can recall.
No, I moved here right when COVID started.
Yeah,
and I think I've told the story before, but I just spent all that time hiking and fishing. If it was winter
we
time,
did too.
Snowboarding. That's all there was to do.
Right. We just didn't have anyone to do it with.
Right. I would go on dates. I was single at that time, so I would just go. I'd just go knock down chicks.
Yeah,
that'd be
knock down chicks at the NASCAR. How are you there? Let me put a little hole in there, in my lip orifice there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. Yeah, so it took a while, and now, I'm blessed with all kinds of cool-ass people that I meet and hang out with out here. Yeah. So, I'm like, screw Matt's group. Fuck him, man. I don't give a shit. No, no, but it's almost like a spin-off of that. So, but, a lot of, just cool-ass people, that we've met, that we're still in contact with. I was going to go to your party, but you didn't list a date.
Which one?
You had you sent me an invite to your, was it Memorial Day or Labor? No, was it? Yeah, Labor Day. No, it wasn't Labor Day. It was
one of them. I don't know.
Maybe it was. Yeah, shit. Because I had a party that I invited y'all and you couldn't come to it, and it was in the fall. I thought that was Labor Day, but in any case, I was going to come to it, and so I texted you and said, "Well, what day is it?" You didn't say if it was Saturday or Sunday.
Oh.
So I didn't get a reply back, and I thought, well, that's weird. I didn't get a reply back. So
I'm a space cadet sometimes.
Yeah, and I was talking to Billy. Billy went, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I went to his party." Yeah, I was like, "Oh, sucker!" And tell me what day it was. He was like, he was kind of baiting it there. He put a little cheese out there, and he says, "Hey, come to my party."
You gotta keep you guessing.
Oh, you wouldn't tell me what day it is? Okay, I see the angle here now, but
really, that's just my master plan. Is just to play with people's emotions.
You play with my emotions, man. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, it drives me crazy. But no.
All right, fun fact of the day time.
Fun fact of the day.
All right, let's shift it up. Let's see. So like I said, I prompt these each time we do a show and just kind of see what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. This one is an anniversary. So today is December 11th.
Mm-hmm.
On December 11th, 1972, at 5:54 UTC, Eugene Cernan became the last human being so far to leave a footprint on the moon when he climbed back into the Apollo 17 lunar module after spending a record 75 hours on the surface. As he stepped up the ladder, Cernan spoke the final words uttered from the lunar surface. America's challenge of today has forged man's destiny of tomorrow. 53 years later, in 2025, that destiny remains unfulfilled. No human has returned since the hatch closed behind him. And the only fresh footprints now are from robotic rovers and China's Chang'e landers. The longest any species has ever voluntarily stayed away from a world it once reached is still ticking upward, making Apollo 17 not just the triumphant finale of a golden age of exploration, but the quiet beginning of the longest deliberate absence in human history.
Wow, man, that is about an AI-generated question as it gets.
Yeah. But it's interesting, though, and it brings up a lot of interesting questions. Like, A, is the moon landing even real? And B, if it is real, why did we never invest in it after all that time and effort and money and millions and billions of dollars and all that energy to get to the moon? just to like flex and say we did it, like take that Russia and that's it, and then you just abandon the whole thing?
You know what? That's exactly 200% what it was initially. And what was funny is I've been doing a lot of, I wouldn't say research, but I've, space travel and the history of space, even the astronauts, cosmonauts, whatever. I've always been immersed in space, probably ever since I started watching the movie The Right Stuff, and growing up, in my high school years living in Florida, we'd always watch the space launches from, because you could see it from our backyard. But what's funny with the moon and everything was that, Russia's beat us,
because
Gagarin was the first man in space.
Sputnik.
Sputnik was the first satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Yuri Gagarin was the first, person to go into space and orbit space. So we had to have that initiative to say, well, fuck it, they beat us there. They got the signal, but what we can do is try to put the first man on the moon and then bring him safely back. But what was interesting is, and I read some Bill O'Reilly. I know that people out there, they say Bill O'Reilly, they kind of roll his eyes. I kind of do too, but he does. There's some perspectives and things that he brings up and hypotheticals, but there's been, and again, maybe these are rumors, but right before Kennedy was assassinated, there were two things that he was starting to really falter on. One was sending troops into Vietnam, and the second was whether or not he wanted to go ahead and, go with a moon landing initiative, or even, because, what was the point? What was going to be accomplished from it? And then, of course, that fateful day in November, and then LBJ comes in. Well, of course, he's from Texas. And so now you got, all these contracts and whatnot. So, and just like with the war, and again, you could call this a conspiracy theory or whatever, there's some, broad strokes, that are being painted here. But the one thing was that we did get a war, and, obviously it was the Johnson administration that continued that push. And of course, look what it did to the state of Texas, So,
What did it do to the state of Texas?
Well, you moved a lot of your space programs. It got more aggressive in Houston. So you say with the Astros, they used to be the Colt 45s, but then they changed their name to the Astros because of the Astrodome, and the whole Astro thing was because of the space program.
Right. So that's billions of dollars.
Billions and billions, which is still, Texas is, you got the Kennedy Space Center, not the Kennedy Johnson Space Center, that's in Texas. So, it became a space hub, bringing in, cadillions of dollars from, your Lockheed Martins and your Rockwell Collins and, Bell and McDonnell Douglas and anyone else that's associated with space, So
what if the whole conspiracy is true, though? Like, we never actually went to the moon. This was just a false flag and a money pit. And not only that, like you're saying, we go into Vietnam under some somewhat bogus circumstances, just propping up all these fucking huge contracting companies, moving insane amounts of money around, and it's all bullshit. It's all just economic bullshit.
I would say, hypothetically, but I mean, in the reality, there was a moon landing. Everybody,
you think so?
Everybody watched it live. So
allegedly, but didn't they say that there was all the actual footage was destroyed, so they had to recreate a bunch of footage, and most of the footage you see is not even from the moon, and they'll tell you it's not.
Yeah, that's one I haven't heard. But the question I would put to the theorists would be, what was it or why that you would think that it was just all smoke and mirrors and just made up? What would be that individual's or organization's rationale for?
All right. Well, unfortunately, the podcast had to shift gears right there because something happened with the audio file. I've talked about how I'm still kind of getting used to some of the tricks and tools of the trade when it comes to this setup and adding video on top of audio now. But it's just some extra steps. But anyways, what Kevin was asking about was what would someone's intention be to fake something like the moon landing. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I do think these stories are fun. These rabbit holes are fun to go down. But it's one of those things you almost got to be careful with, because you start becoming paranoid, because you start to realize that there are some conspiracy theories or things that you always thought were conspiracy theories that seem to be more true than you'd like to believe. And then you learn about some of them and you're like, whoa, snap. If people were going to do this and that, what would keep them from doing that and this? And I'm not going to dive into all of them. There's a bunch of them, but they're fun YouTube rabbit holes to go down to. Go for it if you are feeling froggy. But anyways, why would someone want to fake something like the moon landing? And what I was telling Kevin was that, first of all, it was a race that we were obsessed with winning. We were super hot coming off of World War II, right? America was crushing it. But we were just starting to build up this economy. So we start growing and it starts crushing. We're doing good. We need to ride that high. We need to be projecting strength and growth, and we're crushing it. So obviously it was a race that we really wanted to win. But also, if it was at all possible to fake something like that, if that was even remotely possible, then it would prove they, whoever they are, have like ultimate control. If you could get society to believe things like that and fake the entire thing, it would be the ultimate display of manipulation. And we do know that a lot of manipulation happens all around the world. Narratives get turned and twisted and used for different agendas. But yeah, it'd be a trip. It would be a real trip if something like that was faked. Again, I don't necessarily think it was. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but they're fun ideas. I did always think it was weird, though, to kind of like do the whole moon thing and then abandon the entire program. I mean, maybe it's like the juice isn't really worth the squeeze because it's so expensive to get there. And it's like, what the fuck is there? A bunch of lunar dust and rocks. So, yeah. And shoot, by that time, we were like wrapping up in Vietnam. All kinds of other shit going on. World's changing. So, who knows? But again, they're fun stories. You could do the JFK one or the Twin Towers one or the moon landing one. And there's probably a million others. The COVID one. That one's recent. That one's a whole trip in itself. Like, I wonder what like, is the vaccine really jacking a bunch of people up? Did it really mess a bunch of people up? Messed one of my family members up. Pretty bad. But the holidays are coming up. Hopefully y'all got something cool going on. I remember when I was single and when I first moved to Colorado, especially during those COVID times, just sitting by myself for a lot of the holidays, and it did kind of suck. Luckily, my neighbor, she's real sweet, scooped me up on a couple of them, and I'd go hang out with her family for Thanksgiving, and that was always real nice. But yeah, it's definitely good to have something going on. Especially I had kids young, and then whenever I would have those periods where I would be by myself, whether it was overseas or just I'm in my apartment by myself, it's not my holiday with the kids, or I'm living, too far away or something, you'd be like, man, this kind of sucks, dude. It does kind of suck. The holidays do make you feel a little lonelier if you don't got nothing going on. So, but I guess it goes back to what me and Kev were talking about with community building too. It's like, it doesn't have to be blood relatives. I've had closest family members, a guy could ask for, and I was not related to them. So that's a good thing. It's difficult to find, difficult to cultivate, but it's definitely a good thing to have, and pretty important for everybody to have, I believe. Not just this time of year. But I wonder how much that's going to change in the future. It's like people are already maybe even more reclusive. It's too easy to just chill at the house, cut on Netflix or doom scroll. And I know that's something that gets talked about a lot. I talk about it all the time. I'm going to repeat myself like a motherfucker if you listen to this thing at all. So just heads up on that one. But yeah, it's wild. We're such community beings. We're social creatures. And yeah, everyone hanging out, staring at their phones, probably not good for you. But anyways, I don't got to beat that any more than it's been beaten already. Yeah, I think I might be starting up another group. Me and Kev were talking about it, And we saw a bunch of friends a few days after me and Kevin recorded that show. And it made me realize that I kind of missed doing it and missed some of the people. And I do think it's a good thing to provide. A lot of people appreciated what I was doing. And that's not why I'm doing it, to get like adoration from people or anything like that. But I realized that there was a need for it and people were benefiting from it. So, hey, it's like I'm doing a little good deed. I'm meeting cool people myself. I'm trying to promote something that I think is important for overall human health and happiness. So it's like, why not, I guess, if you have the time and the energy, and, it's a good thing to do. There's much worse things to be doing. It's funny. Those things become, more and more important. Especially because I've gone through periods of my life where I was super lonely, and it is a bummer. It's a mad bummer. Don't get me wrong. I totally dig some alone time. I get down on some alone time hardcore. I love that shit. My alone time, it's not really that exciting. I'll just be like putzing around the house or playing video games or just chilling out. Or go in the woods, go fishing and go for a hike. Shoot, I'll even go snowboarding by myself sometimes, and it's actually pretty rad. Just drive up, listen to some music or a podcast, shred all day. I'll look at those sessions more as like I'm practicing. So I'll look for challenges or ways to push it a little bit. And then you're just kind of doing your own thing, You're not waiting for people or stopping to have beers all the time, because that's how it goes when you go with a group, which I'm not complaining. It's a great time. Do a couple runs, crush a beer, do a couple runs, crush a beer. It's a blast. Matter of fact, those are like some of my favorite days of all time. But when you're doing it solo, it can be nice. And if I'm in good shape and I'm feeling good, I'll just do hot laps. Man, I'll put on miles on that bad boy. We'll be boogieing, dog. It's fun. Yeah, it's important to have a sport, too. I'm sitting here talking about what's important. I think having a sport is good. Obvious physical benefits, right? Maintaining your health and fitness. But a lot of community comes from sports as well. Big time. We went and played pickleball the other day. And pickleball's huge now. It seems like everybody plays. But what a great thing. Now you see like pickleball clubs popping up and people are into it. And a lot of older folks like it too. And that's awesome, because unfortunately a lot of times older folks can be super lonely. So there you go. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Out in the sun, hanging with your friends, smacking that ball back and forth. It's a good time. Yeah, we played the other day. We were playing singles, though. A little more running back and forth. It's good for you, though. Just watch them ankles. Ask the homie Sheldon about that. My dude completely blew out his Achilles tendon on that bad boy. Got to watch out. Got to warm up. Got to make sure you're ready for those movements. You get a little older and shit just happens. It's just how it goes. You wouldn't believe how many people got roasted when I was hosting dodgeball events. There was a period there where I swear like 4 or 5 events in a row, someone got roasted. Like we're calling 911 or they're going to the hospital. Maybe not quite that bad, but they were like going to the doctor right after the game or scheduling the first available appointment. One girl also blew out her Achilles and didn't get it really fixed or looked at right away and was just mobbing around, hobbling for a unnecessarily long time, and then finally got tuned up and then had to recover for like months. So, dude, she played one kickball game and was fucked for like a year. It was crazy. Some other dude jammed his finger real bad. There were some firefighters hanging out nearby. We were like, firefighter dude, come over here. And they were super cool. Helped him out. Yeah, I feel like there was a couple more too. Oh, yeah, a couple like pulled hammies or quads or something like that. You know, if you don't work out and you don't warm up at all, and then you go to play kickball and it's the first time you've done anything like that or played kickball in 20 years, and you boot that thing and sprint to first base, just ice cold, just getting out of your car, and that's the first thing you do, and you don't work out, then yeah, you're asking for trouble, dude. You're asking for serious trouble. I mean, that's the main reason I work out main reason is it's super good for your brain, for mental health, right? Kind of keeps the demons at bay, but also just so I can do like basic sports and fun stuff that I like. Go hiking or backpacking or crawl to a weird ass fishing spot or go snowboarding, or I actually enjoy working out too. Just listening to music and lifting some weights or going for a jog. Yeah, it's kind of meditative, I suppose. So good thing for everyone to do, I suppose. I don't know why I'm all over here like making the list of things that you should do, but I guess I'm just spitballing here. Things that I like to do. Anyways, you can do whatever you want. About balance, right? I also will sit and play video games for 8 hours straight and then house 2 pizzas and drink 12 beers. So it's kind of whatever, dude. Anything goes. I might try and squeeze one more episode in before the holidays. Not 100% sure. We'll see how it goes. Schedule's getting a little tight. But if I can, we will do that. And that one will be big number 10. Boo, 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 boo. They say, I probably said this before, but they say the average podcast doesn't ever get past 12 episodes because people make them all the time, right? You know, like me and my friends are going to do, you know, we're going to talk about video games or whatever. And, you know, just you make a couple and you kind of realize it's a lot of work and it's kind of hard and literally nobody is paying attention at first and give up right away. So we'll hit 10 and then we'll keep it going because it's good. It's good to have hobbies and shit, right? Add another thing to the list. Hobbies. But all right, y'all. If we don't get one more episode in, Merry Christmas and New Year's now. And we'll see you when we see you. All right, meow. Bicycle. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the show out. See you next time.